All right. Welcome into the half. My name is Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at oursuccessgroup.com. This guy right here is Mr. Erich Campbell, and you can find him over at erichcampbell.com. Eric, happy Friday, sir.
Yeah, happy Friday, man. I mean, once again, like we always say, if you work for yourself or contract work, Friday may not mean a lot to you, but happy Friday because it's a good time to get to see everybody and see you and get to talk and do the shows, man. We got good shows this week.
That's right. That's right. As small business owners, we tend to work all days that end in Y only. Those are the only days I'm
Yep.
going to work, just the ones
No,
that end in Y. So
you only have to work on days that end in Y, and that's just that leaves you all that other time to be
yes,
completely free.
yes. Well, Eric, we got people tuned in already. We got
Yeah,
Cindy
let's jump
King.
in.
Yeah, definitely. Cindy, good morning.
Good morning,
And
Cindy.
Ramona, good to see you
Good
again.
morning.
And Cam, right? Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Cam?
Yeah, definitely. Good to see you. What is up? Julie, TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And then
Yo, what's
have,
up?
good to see you, Todd, Mr. Todd Downing from Fat Dad Wholesale.
Yes.
And Barb always coming in from North Central Minnesota. Happy Friday. So look at all this. All right. So we've got Jesse. Hello.
Hey, Jesse.
Cool. Look at it. Look
All
at all
right.
these people.
Everybody coming in and talking to each other, which I love. It's community. Let's get that rolling. Always glad to see that happening, folks.
Yep. Exactly. So where do we start this off here, Eric? As usual, not as usual, as we've started to do. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one of the things I love about the half, Eric, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again, is that, getting perspective. I always find finding, listening, understanding, hearing different perspectives on things is the best way to master something. It's the best way to learn, to grow, to get better. But you have to be open to listening to those perspectives, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember exactly how they said this, but somebody once said, I heard somebody once say that, the three most dangerous words in the English language was "I already knew that." Right? That kind of idea.
I know that. Yeah, I think that's the thing. The moment that we think we know everything is the moment we should just pack it in.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's terrible, but it's like by the time we believe that we know everything we need to know, the chances are that we are just absolutely lost. And I think learning has to continue happening all the time. And frankly, that's why I like seeing all the different perspectives, listening. And here's another one. Now I've forgotten the Stoic that gives us this quote, but we have one mouth and 2 ears for a reason. Listening is much more important than talking. As much as we talk enough, I think it's great to get to listen to everybody. And today on Two Early Guys, we had a great show with the wonderful Lauren Kilgore was on, and kind of outside of our industry a little bit, but tangential to it. She was talking about selling online, and in particular, she's talking about Etsy. And I could hear the commercial people in the background. I could hear you guys thinking, "What is this like crafter Etsy?" bent that we took. Why are we listening to that stuff? And what I'm going to tell you is, as somebody who is dyed in the wool commercial, who started out previous to any of these platforms being on doing e-commerce, the stuff that Lauren said is very much the stuff we've been saying forever and the stuff that still makes sense. So I'll go ahead and just add this to the stream so you can see. This is Lauren's website. If you want to see more about Lauren Kilgore, she's out there at laurenkilgore.com with Handmade Sellers University. So that's her stuff. Just show that because I can. It's something that we didn't get to do on the show. But yeah, she was on and talking about selling. And the thing is, though she was talking about Etsy, though she was talking about platforms, there were some really kind of salient stuff that she discussed. Like selling online doesn't mean giving up selling locally. I've said this a million times for people who have a local business. Social media and selling online are just tools. Any other craft fair, craft show, farmers market event, any kind of you do charities and you show up with a booth, whatever it is that has you in front of people locally, it's the same thing. It's a venue. Online selling is a venue that just operates differently and operates online. I mean, it's the same thing. And the critical part of social media is being social, right? So it's just killing me because it's like sometimes people are like, oh, well, what do you mean? People can't tell me anything about Etsy. Etsy is Amazon, is Google, is everything. They're the same thing because the things she discussed were optimizing your listings. Been talking about this forever. You have to be searchable, and that's part of the thing we still work on. Now, SEO isn't what it used to be, but you still have to be searchable for people who are inbound. That's inbound marketing, making sure when people are coming to your website, they're getting there because of the terms that make the most sense to them. She talked about making sure that you had descriptions and kind of discussions and images that were attractive. And I have forever discussed the fact that in the apparel market, too frequently we're like, okay, I went to the Sandmar catalog and I copied and pasted the description from there and I'm done. And I'm like, not one website that I've done, not one company store website that was branded, did I keep that original copy without alteration.
Yeah.
We write down in the copy, how is this garment going to change the way you live day to day?
Yeah.
Good for? Where would you wear it?
Yeah.
Who should be wearing it? Those are all things you answer in that description, in that copy.
Yeah. And that's the optimization part, Eric, right? Because Sandmar is selling the blank product to the decorator.
Yes,
and
that's
so
their audience.
You're taking their description. You're not selling a blank product. Nobody cares about yes, they want to know if it's soft and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, it's about that decoration. It's about the feeling. It's about the, how that's going to connect with your customer.
Yeah.
And if you're just copying and pasting, you're not optimizing. So I appreciate you sharing that, Eric.
Well, and don't get me wrong. Sandmar is not doing anything wrong. That's the first thing. I'm not saying, Sandmar's descriptions are crap. No, they're not. They're great descriptions.
They're perfect for what they're
doing. To sell to a garment decorator, to sell to someone who knows what a wholesale garment should be.
Yeah.
Do you think that everyone in the world looking for a shirt understands what double needle hems are or stitching? They might get that, but is it the first thing they look for? No.
Yeah.
I remember kind of having to describe that to somebody where they're like, I had copied and pasted all the stuff out of Sandmar, and we're like, self-dyed buttons, or there's all these other different topics where it's like, that's not how people describe it to themselves. And also what they're looking for is a workout shirt.
Yeah.
I want a shirt for the gym. They're not necessarily saying, I'm looking for this kind of performance wear with this kind of technology in it. They might say moisture wicking, but it took a long time for that to be knowledgeable when we first started making that stuff. Back in the bad old days of cotton only, I still to this day I don't like performance wear. I'm just gonna be like that. Everybody hates it when I say it. I think cotton's more comfortable, but hey, that's just me.
Yeah.
That's my argument. I don't like performance wear, but at the same time, I remember this discussion where we've started out where performance wear, the concept, the way it was discussed, was so technical and kind of cold, and nobody really understood what that stuff was. And I'm like, nah, call it your next favorite workout shirt. Do they need to know that it's an S220, whatever the thing is, whatever the particular, they don't need that. They don't want that. They don't need that. The descriptions have to be related to what the people are using it for. How is it going to make them feel? And if you have the ability to take your own photo shots or product shots, which you probably should, especially now, way better, especially now with AI, with Photoshop generative fill, with background removal that works. I cannot tell you how many years of my life I've spent cutting out the backgrounds of images. The amount of time I have spent manually creating masks to cut out shirts, it blows me away. It kills me now to see how easy it is to do with AI now. The fact that we have background removal, you can take your own product shots post decoration. You can do stuff that you just couldn't do before. You can make mock-ups that look realistic with good blending. It's easy now. Don't make the mistake of spitting back out what everybody else has.
Yeah.
Also, it means that they can take a Google search of that image. They just go to Google image search, take your generic image that you put out there, and now they can go find your wholesaler and find exactly what they think you're paying for it, which may or may not be true.
Yeah.
And now we're having a discussion about why they can produce their own stuff. If you're the kind of person who's marking up garments, if you're not doing customer supply, you will be asked to do it shortly. Because if you use their image for it, you and every other website that uses the stock images is going to be, easily exposed for how much stuff costs. And that comparison is easy for people to make. So,
yep. There you go. No, and I think that, really important, all those things, right? And that's the optimization part again.
Yeah.
Because here's the way I looked at it. This was a big shift for me and even in the way that we describe our company, sometimes it comes across this way. We're all excited about the feature, right? That, I've got this many heads of embroidery. I can do this many colors on my screen printing press.
Well, we've had this discussion.
Blah, 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 sublimation, this or that. The customer, this is not to sound rude, but the customer doesn't give a crap, right? They don't care. And that doesn't make them a bad person. It just means if you took a magic marker and gave me the product that I wanted and I'm in love with, then cool. But if that takes a 16 color screen print, then that's what we do.
Yeah.
They don't care about that. But yet that's how we describe our company. That's how we describe our products, is all the features. But what we really need to be doing is taking all of those features and saying, why should our customer care about it? What's the benefit to them? And
I think the bottom line is audience. And it's in all of these things. The bottom line is audience. Who are you selling to? How do they communicate? And how do they understand? If you're a contract decorator selling to promotional products people and other decorators, then capacity, how many heads you have, how much throughput you have, what color range you can do, how many stations there are, whatever that is, that could be important. If you're selling directly to a consumer or a business with the average random person, they don't care. How many heads of embroidery you run just isn't that impressive anymore. This isn't like the glossy 80s corporate speak that we used to do.
Yeah. And even if you're doing contract work, at the end of the day, your customers really don't care. You solve their problem for them. However you go about that and they're happy with it, then cool. Good deal. Now they might be going, yeah, I know you could solve the problem because you've got this many heads and I can't, I've got my own embroidery machine and I can't keep up with the demand. So I need somebody that can handle that. But it's still talking about what the benefit is. You don't have to worry about it. You get out there and sell, we'll take care of the rest for you.
Yeah, for sure. And even if you're doing that, it's like having specialty equipment. If you happen to be one of the people who bought into color reel and you can do something special with it and you've got some examples of it, then that's important. That's impressive because it's literally something that people need to understand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're right. It's like, if you promise to do the capacity that you say you can do, then you got to do it. And I think that's everything. It's really about audience. And the funny thing is, she said the same thing about creating products. So if you're creating your own product lines right now, whether this is, hey, you're doing resort wear. I've done this before, where you actually pre-create stuff and sell it out. Even as a decorator, you make lines and you sell them out into particular categories. Remembering that you're not the audience is massive. You are not your actual audience. It's not for you. Now, can we do things that serve ourselves and then find our tribe? Absolutely. If we are aiming at a group of people, though, and we just make stuff that we think is cool and don't consider whether or not they need it, want it, or have any desire for it, then we're going to lose out. You are not your audience. Same thing for marketing. The worst thing you can do is just go, well, I understand it, so everybody else should. Have somebody else look at that stuff. Honestly, it is not, you are not your primary audience. So you have to stop and think about what that means.
Exactly. And Lauren even talked about that, right? She talked about how the baseball wreaths sold really well. She's not a baseball person, right? And she would have never done that, but she listened to her customers and
some of the when I was doing stock designs more often and stock design collection stuff, I mean, I have the tiny set of never updated stock designs that I have on a website. I mean, it's sad how many I need to put up and I haven't done. The ones that are used are the simplest pieces I have, the least imaginative. I know it sounds terrible, but it is. It's like, okay, what sells? Single color botanicals, a feather, a pattern that was interesting. What all the cool Viking stuff that I love, it does sell to the very small, long tail group of people who really wants that stuff and go, oh wow, somebody made that. That's great. But what sells the most often? Single color ostrich feather, single color dogwood flower that runs real fast. And is that my favorite thing? No. And I always talk about that. My wife, her favorite piece of mine probably is literally, it's a single color botanical thing that took me no time, that was done from simple art. And admittedly, some embroiderers might go, oh, that's cool. He did that without any jumping or trimming. It's one piece of thread. Even the highly technical people who look at that might like that for some reason. For me, this was a nothing design that I cast off to do because I was doing it as part of a package. I did not think about it. It was not hard. It was not creatively challenging. It's not my favorite thing. Does it look okay? Yeah, it looks okay. But your favorite work may not be their favorite work, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we always tell people to sell to their tribe, and that's great when you're starting to sell, but that's more of a tactic to get you comfortable with selling. It's not a tactic to gain a mass audience or penetrate into a particular audience that you can identify. Because if you can identify the audience and tell what they want, well, then you have to give them what they want. I mean, it's a pretty simple equation. I just think we forget about it sometimes.
Yeah,
we just have to realize that there's an audience out there. Though I do like, Todd actually brings something interesting too. He says, quit spending your customers' money if they aren't as cheap as we are. That is for real. Sometimes that's true. We don't know what we can get without asking sometimes.
Sure. And I think part of that is right, because we get, oh, well, nobody's going to pay that for my thing. How do you know? Have
Yeah.
you offered it out there, right? And I think that's what Todd's kind of saying in that regard, right? If we've already decided that we can't get people to spend what we need to make this successful, then guess what? You've just created that for yourself. But if you go, you know what, I think this is a value, right? And this comes back to the confidence that we talked about with Lauren too a little bit. Is this is where, to me, it's all about building this foundation in our business to where we have the confidence, where we have the ability to go, okay, I'm going to put myself out there, and yes, I might take a few lumps here and there, but none of it's fatal, right? I can put myself out there and be confident that I am doing a good job. I am, providing value to my customers, and if somebody doesn't like that, then that's okay. That's their deal, right? It's not going to change my focus, my determination.
No. Especially not your determination for your business. I mean, and that's the thing. There are two ways to go about this. Certainly, I find out what your market is for your customer and market to them if you already have a customer in mind. But if you're trying to get people on your side for your tribe, then it is about sharing what you do. But then you have to be able to put stuff out there, and you just put stuff out there and continue to do it. What I always tell people is it's reps makes it better. It sounds terrible, but sometimes you have to keep putting stuff out there even when it fails. In fact, specifically, put it out there, let it fail, get rid of it, do another one.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like if you keep putting out work, nothing becomes so precious that you can't get past it. And I think that's kind of important, because I'm certainly guilty of this myself. Sometimes you get so focused on the one piece or on the thing that didn't work out that you hold on to it too long. Or maybe you find somebody copies an idea you had, and then you hold on to that too long. And the thing is, if you had just moved on to a new thing, if you had kept excited about the process, made something new, you'd already be on to the next new thing. You wouldn't care. You wouldn't be worried about that. The competition is not competition if you're moving on. Move on, do the next thing. And it's hard, but it's true. And like I said, the audience thing is just so real. You can't estimate what people's desire for things are based on yours. You're going to have to just get out there and try it out. So it goes both directions. You find people who are your tribe by just sharing and being confident, but you also have to remember that if you're aiming for a target, that you have to actually look at the target, open your eyes and see what's in front of you and aim for it. So it kind of goes both directions. Though I love, we got people saying hi, like Tom Farr here said hello this morning. And Tom Farr is an awesome embroiderer, does a lot of really cool stuff, and also laser and other decorations, but he'll put something out there for his particular niche or for his niche interests, like bands that he plays with. And then people want it, and so he produces it. I mean, that's the thing. But you put out these projects and you keep making.
Yeah.
If you keep making and keep sharing, there's just a much higher likelihood. Certainly, if you keep it hidden, nobody's ever going to see it. And if you worry too much about people think, the likelihood is you're never going to get it out in front of the right people. Yeah. So I think it's all part of it. It's all part of it. I don't want people to think like, oh, stifle the creative thing you want to do, because I've actually had lots of jobs come out of me showing the weird Viking stuff, me showing the stuff that's not, everyone's cup of tea, and finding out that it was tangential to something else, or somebody saw it and got inspired. So do that too. And also, like we always talk about with packaging stuff up for clients, put in that extra weird little thing, put in that garment that they might not know about. They don't know you do hats. They don't know you do hard goods, whatever it is. Throw something in there, give it a shot, take the risk, and that marketing is worth a ton. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have won on sampling something and trying.
Yeah,
it really is a thing.
Yep, definitely. All right, one more quick comment. We don't really need to discuss, but I wanted to share this from Cindy. Since I know this may sound strange, but I'm not a brown person. When I have to sew with brown thread, it's hard, right? But again, like you're kind of talking about there, Eric, where it's not necessarily about that, right? It's
the one I always talk about. I'll say it real quickly.
Yeah,
I made this design that I lovingly crafted for a bowling team called the Sloppy Joes, of an angry Sloppy Joe sandwich chasing a scared bowling pin.
It sounds cool to me.
Ugly. It is so ugly. But I lovingly rendered in satin stitches this carved out lumpy meat sandwich that I drew, because they didn't have art. I drew that from a picture of a Sloppy Joe. And as but the thing is, I got lost in the process, and I'm sitting there and I'm doing all this work. And then I stopped and went, I just made an angry sandwich. At the same time, those people freaking love that angry sandwich,
yeah.
and they bought a bunch of them. Does
Sure.
it have to be good to me? No.
Yeah.
It's not my shirt. That's okay.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's beautiful to them because they're connected to it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, see, because I'm like, that sounds awesome to me, but I enjoy bowling.
Maybe next week I'll bring in the design again and show you.
All right. Well, but then you're gonna have to sew something for me because I can't.
Oh my god!
Not so.
Incoming bowling shirt.
Me. Yeah.
We can't lie. It's stitching.
Yeah, that's all right. All right. Well, let's switch gears here real quick.
Sure.
Eric, weekly wins. So this is where you guys that are tuned in share things that what happened over the last week that was a win for you, and let's celebrate that together. Eric, what stands out for you?
Here is a stupid one. Since we always talk about no win being small enough, I'm going to give you a small win that's not a business one, because there's a lot of other business stuff going on. But what I'm going to say is this one small stupid weekly win. We have watering drip systems. We're out in the desert, so we need to kind of be careful at how we water things in New Mexico. And I set up a drip system. I've got loops for the front yard and backyard. I put them all together, and it's been a long time coming. I got a timer in, an automated timer, and it blew out and leaked. And it was killing me because I was like, I had done all this. Plus, these were online timers, so I had all the setup and everything involved. And I managed to keep my cool, get it replaced, redo the setup on the thing, and it's all working and not leaking. I know that sounds stupid, but it's like I now, instead of having to walk around watering plants, I can have Alexa do that if I like. And it's also good for the environment, and it doesn't produce mosquitoes or any of the other stuff. Yeah, I love being in a desert and still being able to have mosquitoes. But hey,
there you go.
I put in a watering system. How about that for a goofy weekly win? That's
I love it. I love it. Perfect. Yeah. Well, hey, speaking of that, Todd's win is have all my fingers still after the 4th of July.
That is a win,
which is so hilarious. This whole 4th of July thing. So I live in the St. Louis area, just outside of St. Louis here, and fireworks are a big thing here. I mean, they've been going off pretty much constantly for about a week now. We even had some last night. I'm sure we'll get more tonight, right? And so I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona, which is also a desert, which is also so it's in Arizona, at least when I was growing up there, I think it still is. It was illegal to have personal fireworks. Now, I love a good fireworks show when I go and I watch some professional firefighters or whatever, put them off in the big way. But this, like, going through my neighborhood feeling like I'm in a war zone is still very foreign to me, even after living here for 13 years now. And so it's always hilarious to me, the Midwesterners here, how they have to have their fireworks. And Todd obviously fits into that because he was worried about his fingers being lost.
I'd love to tell you that here we are also in the desert and should not have any, and none of them are supposed to go over 15 feet. My neighbors had mortars, and I'm not lying. They had tubes set up, and they were firing them up 100 feet all around. We had the entire block was lit, and I wanted nothing to do with it. Did I go watch them? Yeah, mostly with a hose in my hand, but I did watch them because I was like, they're going to do it, and I can't stop them doing it. But I went down the yard and hope for the best.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I've done that before, too. Our neighbors behind us on the hill used to set off a massive fireworks show. And I would go out before and I would water all my trees. And
we did that. We did that because we have a drag brush everywhere. So I was like, nope, let's just hose her down.
Yeah. Todd says illegal is a subjective term in Illinois. So
same here in New Mexico.
Yes,
believe me, nobody cares. But I love this, Tom. We were able to generate $15K for my Trooper Legacy Corps. Go, Tom, man! Like I said, awesome work already. Just your embroidery work is great, but man, awesome work for doing that generation of
great job
for your
Tom.
group, man.
And Todd, I forgot to give you a round of applause for keeping all your fingers too. We'll give you that.
Tom.
But Tom, that is awesome.
Yes.
Bart says I have drip irrigation, so I totally understand. Eric.
Yeah, it's a massive pain. Oh, and I even trenched it in. So
look at you.
Another
round of applause there.
Thank you for I will say this though. I always told my wife when she's like, "Oh, why don't you exercise?" I'm like, "Man, I find it so freaking boring. I don't like being on the machines, just running the grinder." And I said, "Man, I'd rather dig a trench than get on that bike." Well, I got my wish.
Get to it.
Got my wish. I was digging trenches in the garden, and I'm going to say it was a heck of a lot more work than the stationary bike. I did survive, but barely.
There you go. All right, you guys. What other weekly wins do you have out there? Share with us. So, I guess I should share too.
Please.
Yeah, lots of great things. I think what I'm going to share, though, again, this was a weird week. At least it felt that way for me, and I'm sure it felt this way for a lot of other folks in the United States here, with Tuesday being the 4th of July holiday. Again,
hard week.
Again, we talked about how as entrepreneurs, they're every day that ends in Y are the days that you work. But we as a family, we actually ran a 5K on Tuesday morning.
Dude.
And It was the hottest day of the year so far here in St. Louis with the most humidity. But we did it and we survived. Actually, somebody was looking out for us. I think God was looking out for us because there was actually cloud cover in the morning while we were running. We got done running and then we stayed around for the parade that happened afterwards. And when that started, like all the clouds went away and there's that hottest day of the year that we were talking about. So anyhow, surviving that is my weekly win. And I'm pretty proud of how we did. Our son stayed with my wife and I as long as he could, and then he couldn't wait for us any longer. So he finished about 2 minutes ahead of us, but we, didn't break any world land speed records, but I did better than I thought. So
nice, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, here, I'm going to share one more thing. Share one more thing because I actually had one other win. We were doing a quick newsletter, so business thing, and I made a quick design and it went pretty well, and I liked that. And it was something random that I thought was fun. So we did a patriotic design. One of my designs also kind of took off again this year that Lisa Shaw did a great job making something out of. But what I really loved, we did this piece. It was this retro piece. And I'm going to actually show it on screen real quickly since I believe I can. I'm going to show that tab. But the cool thing was we got to bring that out and had a bunch of people like it, and we got to share it on social media and stuff. So it was just fun to have the people do this stuff with me and kind of enjoy. So I did this kind of cool design. I'm going to just show it really, really briefly. Cool. But that was the cool thing.
All right. Well, you're pulling that up.
I'll pull that up for me.
Cindy says, "Great wins for the week, everybody." Yeah, thank you, Cindy. Now, Cindy, what's your win for the week too?
Yeah, tell us what your win is.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is my fun little thing. I got to do a retro. It was like bicentennial themed. If you guys know, the 1976 bicentennial had a lot of really great thick line design. There's the 70s design era around the bicentennial that a lot of people are referring to now. I've been doing a lot of stuff that's 60s, 70s adjacent in the design world right now, and I just really love this piece. So I made this week, and it was something I did like the day of the newsletter. I designed it based on an old school retro cut edge patch that I found, digitized it, ran it, and put it out for the newsletter same day while I was building the newsletter. So that was my big fun like embroidery win. Free design if you want to go get it over in brilliance.com. They have that in our archives. If not, check it online with me or contact me and I'll get it for you. But yeah, just one of those other things. It's like I love making designs that are retro and cool, and it was fun that people jived with that. And the other kind of win from that too, something I got to share. If you guys haven't noticed, new social media dropped this Friday. We have Thursday and Friday, Threads by Meta, which is kind of a Twitter competitor, dropped. And I got to share that on Threads and got some cool people who I didn't know were watching liking that post. So it was like a fun win for me that people like that one.
Nice. All right. Cindy says my win that I won a contest arrives sometimes today. So good job.
Nice. Wins for everybody. Good job.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome, Cindy. All right, Eric. Challenge here. It's time. Challenge Q&A challenge, whatever that is for you. Yeah. We'll go back and put Ramona's up here. She says, machine is down. Tech arrives on Monday. I have 3 large stitch jobs that need to be run out, and before I leave on the 13th, it can be done as long as the machine cooperates. So there we go. Machine cooperation. There we go.
Everybody cross your fingers. That is always hard. This is why I always say people build your dream team, find people around you can rely on and subcontract to. It's always worthwhile. Yeah. Building that pad so that you can actually afford to do that when you need to.
Yeah. And then Cindy says, Eric, I'm trying to figure out the site. Yeah,
this one was a newsletter exclusive, wasn't on the site. So I will go ahead and paste up the link to that newsletter.
Cool.
You can go ahead and grab it there if you want that. Yes, it's in Brilliance format, but you can use the free version. So if you have any version, including the very free version of the Brilliance software, which is like literally download the platform and run it with no serial numbers in it, you can save it out from there to any Stitch file format that you need. That's why we do that. It also allows small amounts of resizing.
Yeah. Or just get him brilliance and he'll be happy.
Or it's cost. The cost is so little to get the base model, and then you get to play with all the fun stuff. But yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, guys, get it.
There we go.
And if you make
all right, it wasn't intentional.
That's all right. If we grab some designs and make something, share it with us and tag us. Tag us in some of your weekly wins, guys. We'd love to share that too.
Yeah. Put stuff out there and just tag Eric or myself or two regular guys or whatever, and
we'll share.
We'll share it too. Love that. See, and it really wasn't intentional to cut you off.
I love it, dude.
Have a great rest of your week, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
See you guys next time.